Hello everyone, this is your home baker Peach. I'm planning to make 24 sourdough bami rolls, prepare 3 sourdoughs, and 20 bacon sourdough breadsticks. I'm gonna start with stir-frying some Guizhou bacon that I brought back from my hometown this summer. Always the fatty part first. Fry the fat out so no extra oil is needed for later. Then dump in the lean part. Stir-fry them until nice and crispy. It smells amazing. Then I move on to my sourdough bami rolls. Milk, egg, and my active starter are all well mixed before adding in the flour. Wasn't in the mood for recording the bami shaping because I was in such a hurry. There was 24 of them. I baked all 24 at the same time. Pretty efficient, eh? And at the same time, my bacon breadstick dough is bulking nicely. I also mixed the flour with water to sit for an hour before adding the starter. To let time to do the job for me. The gluten will develop on its own given time. I also made sure my counter is well dusted before I dumped my breadstick dough out. This might take a while. It's a highly hydrated dough. Sticking to the bottom of the bucket is normal. You can also give it a little help with the scraper if you want. There you go. Here it comes. Look at that dough, nice and stretchy. I've included some sweet corn to balance the savory taste of Guizhou bacon, and some shepherd's purse to decorate the dough with a bit of green. Now gently pull the dough on each side to make it into a big rectangle. You might want to repeat this process a few times. The last thing you want is to stretch the dough too quickly, as it might tear up the gluten we've been building. Give it a nice gentle pat to let the big pockets of air out. And then we're ready to move on to dividing the dough. And now we've got a lot of cutting and twisting to do. I'll place the twisted doughs on a dough mat to proof. Now let's speed up the process. Lastly, cover the dough to prevent from drying up. I want you to feel the crust and the softness on the inside. Now let's dust away on the dough and the counter. That went quite smoothly. This is why I prefer glass containers for bulking. It's much less sticky. Now pre-shape. I'm gonna divide my dough into 3. I did my best with eyeballing, but still needed a scale to even them out a bit. I have to say that I did quite a good job with eyeballing. As I always say, 我的眼睛就是尺, my sight is the scale. Dust off the excessive flour. Too much of them is bad for your dough. Cover them up with bowls for bench rest. 20 minutes later, it's time for final shaping. Dust the surface lightly and flip it over with a scraper. Adjust the shape of the dough into a rectangle. Poke out any visible big air pocket. They're jam people's nightmare. What I usually do is to fold the sides into the center and then roll it up from the bottom to the top, or the top to the bottom, it doesn't matter. As long as you're creating tension on the surface of the dough. As you can see, my dough sits on the bench nicely, which is a good sign of a strong dough, which might give you a nice year when baked. Placing it gently in the bannetons, and then finish all the procedures on the second dough and the third dough, and get them ready for overnight proofing in the fridge. This is early next morning, time to bake my sourdoughs. And before that, there is one thing I love the most, scoring the dough. I love to experiment with different kinds of ideas. I think it's got to do with my art background. This is just another kind of canvas to draw on. Dust the dough well, and it would give you a better pronounced pattern. Now, as time is usually limited, I always fall back on the classic wheat. It's super easy and quick to score and gives you best results. I'm gonna shove these 2 doughs into my preheated conventional oven with pie stones to create artificial steam. And then move on to scoring my third dough, which I'm gonna put into my Dutch oven. time to reap what you sow. This is the result I get for 2 days' work. There's nothing more fulfilling than this magical moment. Opening up the blind boxes. That looks promising, but sometimes you just can't avoid big air pockets. The taste is always as good though, nevertheless. The point of the existence of these loaves is to be eaten, not to be worshipped like art. Don't you agree? Now, they're all set for shipping.